everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Before we start today, I have to tell you guys I came down with the flu. I do not feel good, so this is going to be short, sweet, and to the point. So today we're going to be working on human proportions. This is going to be the first part in a series I do on anatomy and figure drawing, but today we're just going to start with the basics. So I'm going to show you how to do the side, front, and back view and how to get your proportions right. A lot of people like to use the 8 head method, I guess is what I would call it. Basically, you draw your head and then you measure another 7 down, and there's your length of your body. That's too much measuring and too much work for me. So I'm going to show you the lazy way to do basically just that. And so for the side view, we'll do front and back. So what I like to do is just draw a line. You have the top of your line and you have the bottom of your line. Then you simply find approximately the middle. If you really want to double check, you can use your pencil and your finger and just measure it out. But like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. No human is exactly the same in proportion, so things can be slightly off. So once we have the middle, this is going to be the line for our crotch. Then we can come down here and divide this in half. This is going to be our knee. We come up here, divide this in half. That is going to be the bottom of your breastbone. And then divide that in half once again, and there you have your head. So your head, basically 3/4 of it, 3/4 of this line is going to be circular, and then you're going to add your jaw, and you can elongate this and do whatever. Once again, proportions are not set in stone. Every person is different. But for the side view, I forgot I was drawing the side view. But for the side view, you want to draw your circle, and then your jaw. So you see your middle line, you're going to start your jaw right after it and come down to here, and then go out, and then just like that. And then your neck is going to come like that. Then, forgive me, I'm not used to teaching in front of a live audience. We are going to find where your clavicle would be, which is basically you divide this line into thirds. So this is where the clavicle would be, and your shoulders come up. So you just draw a line up like that. You don't want it to be touching, you just, the line for your jaw, you want it to be slightly under. And then where your breastbone, the bottom of your breastbone, that is going to be your widest point. You want it to be, so take your head, take 1/4 of that, and bring that out on either side. And that is going to be the thickest part of your breastbone. Just draw that. And then you come down here and you divide this in half, and you get the navel or belly button. And right above that is where, well, divide this in thirds again. And this line is where your rib cage is going to stop. And this is going to curve before you get to the spine. So, like that. If you can see that. So it's just gonna curve right before that. And then once again, your the largest part of your back is going to be fourth of your head's way out. And that's going to come, you see your midline, you divide that in a third. So that line, and then it's going to curve inwards. And there you have the side view of your chest, basically. Now onto the pelvis. This is going to be the bottom of our pelvis, and here's our navel. So you divide this into thirds. Gonna put a line there. And your pelvis is not straight across. So what you want to do is you have top of your navel, and it'll come to this first third. So once again, same length as chest. And it'll just come right under that line. And then to finish that off, you just connect the lines like that. Then for your shoulder and hip, your shoulder is going to be so between your clavicle and the highest part of right here. So it's going to be right in between here. And you can just draw a line all the way down. And your wrist falls about at your crotch level. A lot of people say right above your crotch. So I'll kind of do a pendulum motion and go to there. There you get your wrist. And then you draw your hand. And then for your hip and leg joint, it's going to be right here. And then for your leg, it's in front of that center line for your thigh, and in back of that center line for your calf. And then you give it feet. And that is your basic side view. Now onto the front view. This is crooked. There we go. Now onto the front view. Gonna zoom out. Forgive me, I'm on my phone. Balancing on a hanger underneath like 5 books. Once again, draw a straight line. Divide it in the center. That will be your crotch. Divide it again. That is going to be the top of the breastbone. And divide it again. And that will be your face. Great. Now, then we divide this again, and we get the navel, come down and divide this, and we get our knees. So to come up here and get our clavicle, we just divide this into thirds. And this is going to be our clavicle, and right above that, get this part of the back. Then right outside where your head is, right above this center line, so at that other third mark, that's where your nipples would go. And that's a good indicator on how big your torso needs to be. Then you just bring the torso down. Once again, this is the top of your chest bone. And this line will come just right above the navel. And there's that. Then for your pelvis, for the front view, once again, your hips are slanted. So we have the top. We divide this line into thirds. We come down to the first third. And then we connect to where we said the line for our crotch was. Then for our shoulders, it's slightly different from over here because our shoulders are out from our chest. So what I will do is I'll take a line from the navel and the nipple and go out, and from the clavicle and go out until it doesn't collide with the outer rib. So that would be about here. And then you can go down, once again, pendulum for the at the crotch to get your wrist, and a hand. And then I usually just eyeball the other shoulder, but you can use the same method. Wrist and hand. Then for your legs, I'm gonna make that crotch a little bit longer. Like I said, things are not 100% with every human. You can make small adjustments here and there. Then for your hips, they just go right here. So right at or below or right below the crotch, kind of out. So you take this line kind of like right here going down. And then we have our legs and knees. Your knees are either going to be right at this midpoint or once again a pendulum type of feel. And then your very, very badly drawn feet. And that is that is your front view. For the back view, it's going to be, once again, fairly similar. Divide in half. That's where your crotch will go. divide in half again, and divide in half again. Your head, once again, the round part comes about 2/3 down. Then you add your jaw, and for the back, I like to just shade this in because you see here, it's not flat. Then we just do basically the same thing we've done before. So normally our clavicle, we divide this in half. We have our clavicle, and then we go slightly above. We can't see the clavicle from the back, however, so you can kind of eyeball it. It's kind of like you divide it in thirds, and then you divide this 1/3 in half, and that's the top of your back. Then we have our navel, once again, in this quadrant. So you divide this in half, and then that in half, this line in half, and that's your navel. So your back, as you can see in most of these, it's going to come right above your navel. So you can divide this in thirds once again. And this is where your back is going to stop. And it's basically a big oval. I always say take the height of your head and flip it sideways, depending on the character you're doing. And then it's going to come and kind of go flat here. It's not going to be, it's going to be more rounded up here. This is really soft pencil lead. And then for the hips, you can see the back of the hips up here came to the navel. So that is what's going to happen again. And then just down to the line of our crotch. And if you want, you can draw your imaginary line. That would be this line on the front. You don't have to. And then, once again, same positioning for your hip joints as they was in the front. Your knees, either at or a slight pendulum above that midpoint. And your crappy triangle feet. Shoulders, same principle. You can draw in or eyeball where your nipples would be. You don't have to. Get that line coming from, and then your clavicle line down here. And that is where shoulders would be. Wrists come to a pendulum above the crotch. And like I said, everyone's different. Some people's wrists go past their crotch or are at their crotch. It really, anatomy is not 100% defined. And then your hands, and that is the back view. So that is your basic human proportions. I know my heads look a little small. Well, this one does, mainly because of all the shading. But yeah, that's your side, back, and front view. I hope this was helpful in any way, shape, or form. It's a lot easier than grabbing a ruler and really measuring everything out. I am hoping to do poses and fleshing out your figures. In the next few videos, we will see. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!